As a credit repair and funding business owner, one of the most frustrating things that can happen to you is setting up a funnel, paying for a setter, paying for a closer, and the only thing that closer tells you is these leads are unqualified. These leads are unqualified. You may be running webinars, you may be running some type of adverts, meta ads, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you're doing to get traffic. The quality of the leads is just subpar. And this is especially the case if you run a high ticket funding service. It doesn't matter if you go through a third party or you run some type of coaching program where you teach others, business owners, how to get funding, the same problem persists. The leads are just unqualified. Either mentally, they're physically unable to give you their time, or the biggest one, and the one that you're probably thinking of, they don't have the money. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to stop wasting your time with trash leads. So dealing with unqualified leads is a top-down issue. So if we picture your funnel, again, maybe you're just doing organic traffic, for instance, you're doing TikTok lives, you're posting on Instagram Reels, anything like that, and you're just getting your leads organically. What you pour in at the top of the funnel is going to trickle down all the way to the bottom of the funnel when you finally are booking sales calls. That's why number one on this is call out your perfect customer. If you're a credit repair or business funding coach that is having trouble with the lead quality, I assume you already know about ICP and customer avatars, customer personas. But the biggest thing I've seen in my time with working with credit repair and funding coaches is that they're just not calling out their perfect customer. See, again, if you have a high ticket funding service, your customer needs to pass some qualifications before they can even hop on a sales call. Too many business funding coaches are hopping on sales calls with prospects, and their prospects are not their perfect customer. That's why in the top of your funnel, you need to be calling out your specific ICP that does qualify for your high ticket service. So let's get into it right now. Let me unblank some of these right here. So you need to ask yourself, who can you get the best results for? That is a question a lot of us don't ask ourselves when we get into business, when we get into some type of service-based business. Who can we actually get the best results for? So again, if you're in business funding and credit and all that, a majority of your leads are going to be people who may not be well off financially and their credit is bad. There's a limit to the amount of cash you can accumulate from those leads. Those leads more than likely, unless your sales process is down packed, where you're constantly following up with those leads in the future, those leads are more than likely never going to be qualified for your high ticket service. Your high ticket service more than likely needs, you need a 750 credit score, no lates, no collections, things of that nature. And you need to be able to pay 5-10K for, a funding service. So you need to ask yourself, who can I actually get the best results for? Too many business funding coaches are shooting broad instead of niching down. So I have a specific niche right here. Aspiring entrepreneurs looking to invest in their first real estate property. The reason I picked that is, let's say you have a funding service, you have a funding coaching program that's around 5 to 10K. Your average 9-to-5 Joe Schmo is not, that program is not for him. He's not going to be, it may sound nice to him, but he is never going to be in the market for that. That offer and him are never going to have product market fit. That's why I say you need to ask yourself, who can you get the best results for? Aspiring entrepreneur looking to invest in the first real estate property, they're actually serious. They actually know that credit and funding is the solution they want to use to get out of the rat race, to invest in the first property, to open up their first barbershop, to open up the first hair salon. anything like that. Your average Joe Schmo doesn't really care about all that. That may sound nice, but at the end of the day, he just wants his credit repaired so he can get a car or a mortgage, which is fine, but that's a whole separate niche that needs to be marketed to a separate way. Also, a big thing is, what do they want their future to look like? This goes into, who can you get the best results for? They want multiple properties making 10K per month in passive income. Again, your average Joe Schmo that just wants credit repair because his credit is jacked up. He just wants his credit to get prepared so he can get that mortgage, so he can get that car loan. He's not really in the market for a high ticket funding coaching program or for just a high ticket funding offer at all. You need to ask, where are they now? So where are they now in their pain points, and what are they trying to achieve are the three biggest questions you need to answer about your specific niche. Where they are now is, of course, where are they starting? Where are they at when they first click on your page, when they first see an Instagram ad, when they first click on their first TikTok or IG reel? They're slaving away at the 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck. What pain points are they feeling? They're overwhelmed by information. They may have been burned a couple times. The credit score is good, but they don't know how to leverage it to get and to be approved for funding. And then what are they trying now to achieve their desired future? They're using probably credit repair services. Again, if they used a credit repair specialist in the past that has burned them. They're following general credit rules, maybe even some misconceptions like, paying all of your utilization down or paying off all of your collections or anything like that. But at the end of the day, once you have your niche and your ICP really honed in, you need to call out to that customer in every piece of content you make. For instance, my content is curated towards business funding coaches, that have a high ticket program who are dealing with trash leads, and they want 15 to 30 qualified leads, qualified sales calls in the next 30 to 90 days. In every piece of content I make, I will call out that specific customer. So the only people who are really tapping in to my content, who are either clicking on my offers or either emailing me or DMing me, hey, I need some help, are in that niche. Of course, you're going to get some people who, may have bad credit scores, and, they're just in their 9 to 5. They don't really care about business funding or setting up a business, setting up a LLC, anything like that. Of course, you're going to get some stragglers here and there. But once you call out your perfect customer in all your piece of content, that will exponentially increase your lead quality just like that. And all you did was, hey, if you are a aspiring real estate investor who has a 750 credit score, a 680 credit score with no negatives or no lates, I have a free ebook for you. I have a free webinar for you that teaches you how to leverage that credit score for funding. And then lo and behold, look at what you know. A lot of people who are funneling in are in that niche. They're already pre-qualified on that front. Another aspect of dealing with trash leads, of course, just isn't financial. A lot of times you may hop on a call and the prospect will know literally nothing about their business. They'll call up, hey, I just saw your TikTok live, your Instagram live. I really don't know anything about it. And then instead of qualifying them and eventually selling to them, you're stuck in a consultation phase where you're kind of teaching them about the business and kind of you're just teaching. You're wasting your time and their time. And then more of the times than not, at the end of the call, they won't even book or they won't even qualify. So that's why it's imperative to create a video that calls out to your perfect customer, and it needs to include these specific things: who they are, which we went over already, their current problem and where they want to be. Again, remember the three biggest questions that you need to ask about your niche, need to answer. And then your offer. Of course, you need to answer what they're getting. And your offer does not include your price. I would not recommend saying your price outright in this video. And really any piece of content you make, if someone someone DMs you, hey, what's your price? Because at that point, they're just making a decision based off price and not based on the value of the offer. So when I mean your offer is, let's say you have an offer, I will help you obtain 100K in 0% interest business funding in the next 30 to 90 days. That's your offer. You need to say that in your video. And this video needs to be on the same page as your application, which we're gonna go over here shortly. So you need to have your offer. And a big point, which I should have bolded this and italicized and even underline, do everything, is the unique mechanism. There's so much credit repair experts out here, funding experts out here that are selling the same thing. And at the end of the day, most of us are selling the same thing. The thing that separates you from your competition is your unique mechanism. For me, I have the passive scaling model that will help you passively book qualified sales calls in 30 to 90 days, month after month. Your unique mechanism could be the rejection resistance strategy that will, help your niche have a 95.87 approval rate or something like that. You just need to have a unique mechanism, a unique strategy, a unique methodology that will separate you from the competition. So when when a prospect sees you and competitor A does not have a unique mechanism. They're just, oh yeah, we're gonna fix your credit, get you funded, boom. No, I have a methodology, a 3-step methodology that will first help you create a relationship with the banks, add these trade lines, and whatever else is in your process that needs to be outlined in your unique mechanism. Also, results. Of course, I think that's self-explanatory. You need to have results, proof of people you've helped in the past. And then you need to go over the things that they tried before. Of course, maybe they've been scammed, kind of goes up to what are they trying now to achieve their desired future. You're kind of just breaking these limiting beliefs, breaking these misconceptions that will connect both you and the customer together to create product market fit. So when the customer sees this, hey, this guy knows who I am. He knows my problem. He knows where I want to go. He has a very specific and compelling offer that speaks directly to me. He has a unique way of going about things that scammer A doesn't. So maybe this guy is different. He's legit. He has results. He knows the things I've tried before. And of course, at the end of the video, you need to have your call to action. Click now, click below to schedule a funding game plan so we can go over exactly what you need to be able to obtain funding. And then last but certainly not least is you need to qualify before you sell. Again, so many people will just be booking sales calls without even talking to the prospect, without even seeing where the prospect is at. Because again, you're gonna get some stragglers. Most of the people you talk to are not gonna be qualified. And that's just the nature of this business. That's why it's imperative to qualify before you sell. And I recommend a two-call verification, basically. So your first call is basically just your qualification call. That's what I do for my business. That's what I've implemented in other credit repair businesses. Is you just have a free 10 to 15 minute call where you just breeze through everything. Because to be honest, people lie on qualifications forms all the time. Or either they don't lie or they just don't know what they're talking about. They'll be like, oh, they filled out the form, yeah, I got a 680, no negatives, and boom. And then when you get on the sales call, like, hey, you got no 680, it's like, oh, I actually checked last night, I'm at a 432 and I have 5 collections. It's like, again, you just wasted both your time and their time. So you need to qualify before selling. Again, a 2-step call, 10 to 15 minute call where you breeze through everything. Like, hey, the way I like to run these, thank you for picking up the call. Thank you for having this call. The way I like to run these calls is we're gonna keep it quick, 10 to 15 minutes. Just wanna see where you are at in your business, where you're looking to get, where you are now, and then where we can help. And then if it's a fit between both what you want and what I can do, I'm gonna schedule another call where we go more in depth on that. That's it. That's been my script, and they'll always be like, okay, cool, and that's it. So this 10 to 15-minute call needs to go over a simple qualification methodology that I actually have been taught. It's called BANTS: budget, authority, needs, timeline. And then of course you add other things on that. So what's their budget? Simple as that. If their budget, if you have a $10,000 high ticket offer and the budget's 5K, disqualified right off the map unless you offer payment plans. And then authority. This is a big one. Can they make their decision today? A lot of people will, I need to talk to my financial advisor, my business partner, my wife, my husband. And I was like, okay, if that's the case, let's reschedule, or can you get them on the phone right now? If not, let's reschedule, because you don't want to waste any time where you're about to close. It's like, oh, I actually need to talk to my husband. It's like, and then what are their needs? This seems obvious, but again, you may be targeting business owners or aspiring real estate investors, and then, who are looking to obtain funding for their first property. And then you may get this Joe Smo that's like, hey, yeah, I just need an auto loan. And then you want to know how fast do they want the transformation. It's been too many times where I've gone over, qualification forms, just looking at the answers, seeing who's qualified and who's not. And a lot of the times someone be qualified, but they'll be like, yeah, I want to start in 3 months. So, and if that's the case, cool, that's fine. Maybe they don't have the cash right now, or they got other stuff going on. Cool, it's not personal. We just won't be calling you. And maybe in 3 months, you're going to get another call. So how fast do they want the transformation? And then if you need extra questions, which as a credit repair funding business, you will, that's perfectly fine. For instance, current credit score, do they have any negative items? What's their business type? Do they basically fit your niche that you made up top? So if you do all of these, from calling out your perfect customer, knowing your niche, knowing exactly who you're targeting, and then saying that in every piece of content you make, targeting every piece of content, all marketing material to that specific customer, you will drastically decrease the amount of people who are not even in the market will tap into your services. And then you need to tell them exactly what they're getting, not how. Create a video, simple VSL you can put on your qualification form page that basically just goes over all of this. So many people just have a form, a qualification form. You need to have a video as well. That will decrease the amount of stragglers that get through. And then of course, we're going over my 2-step call, verification call method, where first, qualification call. Second, if they pass a qualification call, that's when you jump onto the sales call, and then you close them for whatever price your high ticket service is at. This has definitely helped my clients stop getting on the phone with just unquality leads, people who are just wasting time or broke. And if you implement all these 3 into your business, you will see that your setters and your closers will especially be happy. We're stop dealing with just trash, broke leads who are just not in the market for our services, and that's a-okay. So yeah, I hope this helps.